the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the inaugural race here on the new Turn 3 Racing Network. I'm your host, Roger Muth, here tonight on the mics, pushing the buttons behind the scenes for the first time here for the National Speed Association. We're here from the Dega Super Speedway. These guys are out there practicing right now. Got about 18 drivers out here who have turned a lap here in the practice session. We got about 5 minutes and 50 seconds. This is not the first time for the National Speed Association to be on the track at all entirely. They're a little over halfway in their season here with these guys. Let's see if we can get quickly to our point standings here. There's your voice attack point standings here for the National Speed Association. Chris Garrett right now holds the lead over Chris Stump by a 6-point margin. Jamie Christensen, after having a good second place finish last week, right now sits there in your third position. Charles Widener, though, 15 points back in your fourth spot. Dustin Phillips rounds out the top 5. He had a great finish last week at the little short track, but we're far, far away from a short track here this week. J.J. Garrett right now, who's had a string of bad luck, not able to finish a lot of these off right now. He sits there, 6th in points. 57 points out of the lead. Stephen Page is 7th. Trey Hoovler, who is in attendance. Good to see Trey back on the track here tonight. He's 8th in your points. Doug Lemons is 9th. Rounding out your top 10 here for your voice attack point standings, going to be A.J. Hamill. A couple of your other drivers, 11 through 20 on the right-hand side. The big question about tonight, though, can Chris Garrett hold off Chris Stump? As Chris Stump has went on a tear of late. He missed a week and came back, and ever since he came back, he's just been a thorn in Chris Garrett's side as he's closed now the points lead up to just 6 points between the two of them. And Jamie, after winning Bristol, had another podium finish where he stuck at 3rd last week. But Charlie Widener, who sits there in 4th, he's not going away just yet. He has a quick truck here tonight from Talladega. That's your voice attack point standings here for the National Speed Association. Let's get to your practice time. See where everybody is running right now. Right now, the newcomer, the 94 here, Michael Lortai, right now holds down the top spot. Chris Garrett is 2nd. Francois Matt right now holds down your 3rd spot, and Charlie Widener is 4th with Jamie Christensen running 5th on your speed charts. Let's take a peek and see who's out there on track right now. It looks like the 27 of DeMarco Starks back in action here. He's out there getting some little drafting help from Trey Hoovler in the number 90. Trey Hoovler, we've seen him have some good runs on the short tracks and the 1.5-mile tracks, but it's going to be a totally new ball game here tonight. Let's take a quick peek here. Well, we're going to take a quick peek, but it seems like we're not working right at this second. So I'll tell you, today, 4 turns here from Talladega. Length for Talladega Super Speedway going to be 2.65 miles. Track temp right now hovering right around 105 degrees, so it's going to be a hot one. Get these trucks up there in the draft, tucked up underneath each other. Could spell for some overheating motors. Got to see how much tape these guys have on the front of these trucks here tonight. So as these two gentlemen are out there taking some practice laps, we're going to step away here. We're going to get our national anthem played, and we will be right back here on the Turn 3 Racing Network to bring you more National Speed Association live qualifying. Well, welcome back here, race fans. Qualifying, as you see on the screen, has just begun. First man out there, the number 9 of Jamie Christensen, as he's out here in the newly painted number 9 Toyota Tundra. Voice Attack, that's right, Voice Attack being the premier sponsor here for the National Speed Association. And Jamie has it plastered all over that beautiful number 9 Toyota Tundra, as he's on his, I believe, coming to take the green flag for his first time lap here. So Jamie, one of the drivers in your points championship hunt, as he runs a third in the points championship after his one win on the season so far came from the Bristol Motor Speedway. And after finishing on the podium again last week, is now trying to see what he can do here from Talladega Superspeedway. See Jamie right up against the wall here on his first time lap, trying to put as much speed as he can in that Toyota. His second time lap is what he's going to be shooting for his best time right now. Let's see though, Jamie should be coming across the stripe here to put in his first qualifying lap here tonight. As Jamie crosses the stripe, also along with Jamie crossing the stripe, as Jamie goes P2 on the board. Now he's going to bump down a little bit. Newcomer out here tonight, the 77 of Dustin Ping. Haven't seen Dustin out here on track, but I was told by a couple of his other racers out there with him, he is a great racer, and watch for him to put on one heck of an exciting show here tonight. So right now, Dustin Ping in the 77 goes P1. How about the man who had a good run last week, though, the 33 here of Dustin Phillips, right now has that truck in the second spot. So that was his first time lap. Last week's winner also put in a time here. Chris Stump here in the 98 machine. He goes 4th on the board right now. But once again, that was lap number 1. The money laps all going to be on lap number 2. And here comes the 2-2-4 here of Carl Samard. He's going to go P2 because Jamie Christensen on his second lap goes P1. So the driver for the Voice Attack machine there going to go P1 for the time being. Michael Lortzy going to go second. Oh, he gets bumped real quick because Stephen Page going to take the number 1 and go to the top of the speed charts. And as Stephen Page goes to the top, it switches twice. Dustin Phillips, and now how about that number 90 there? Trey Hoovler going to go to the top of the board. Trey Hoovler to the top of the board, and look at this man out here riding in the number 27 machine. DeMarco Starks back in action here tonight after missing a couple weeks. Good to see Starks back out here on track in that beautiful truck. See, as he's coming into the trial, dives down there. He does have one timed lap in, so this is his money lap. It looks like he's a little off the bottom. There are some bumps coming through the trial that could upset these trucks. Remember, these guys do have an open setup as whoa, look at that. Starks goes P4 on the board, so he goes from 11th all the way up to P4. Doesn't look like any other drivers out there right now. Francois Matt is out here. It looks like this should be his second time lap. Let's see where the 218 driver goes on the board. Looks like Francois Matt a little bit slower that time on his second time lap, so will not increase where he's going to start here tonight. 11 seconds, though, here in qualifying. Looks like just about everybody's put in a time that was going to. As there you see the clock hit 0, so qualifying is over. Francois shown off the board right now, but tonight's pole setter should go to Trey Hoovler. So as we wait for these guys to start gridding up before we go through your lineup, remember tonight's race here on the Turn 3 Racing Network here for the National Speed Association is presented by the Voice Attack. So 94 laps going to be the distance here for these guys tonight here from Talladega. It's going to be a nice little pack formed up here tonight for these guys. So as you see, everybody's starting to take to the grid here for the first time before we get one pace lap before we hit the green flag here tonight. Track temp has started to drop down since we're out of the practice session. In qualifying, it was at 100, and right now, sitting at a blistering 99 degrees. So we're keeping an eye on that throughout the race here to see if anybody's going to start spitting water out of the overflow, or, well, if anybody's going to go up in a puff of smoke here tonight. That's not what you want to do, especially if you're in the draft. That could spell disaster not only for yourself, but a couple guys behind you might be running into you at that point. Still waiting on, I believe it's Trey Hoovler to take to the grid here. Sean Bazin takes to the grid, still waiting on your pole center here of Trey Hoovler before we can start to roll the grid here from Talladega. Well, we do thank everybody for tuning in here tonight, as now you see Trey Hoovler for the first race here on the Turn 3 Racing Network with the National Speed Association. Glad to have them on board with us over here. As the pace car starting to roll off, let's see if we can work through our starting grid here tonight, brought to you by the Voice Attack. Starting P1, going to be the number 90 here of Trey Hoovler. Right alongside him, going to be last week's winner, Chris Stump, in the 98 machine. Starting third, going to be Dustin Phillips there in the 33. And right behind him, or right next to him, sorry, going to be the number 27 of DeMarco Starks. Stephen Page going to roll from the 5th position, and Jamie Christensen going to start 6th. 7th going to go to Francois Matt there in the 218 machine. And Michael Lortai going to start there 8th. 9th going to go to Pascal Brusuli. One day I'll get them all right. And starting 10th here on the field going to be the 77 of Dustin Ping. 11th going to go to Carl Samard in the 224 machine. And Sean Bazin making his first start here in the number 24. 13th on the grid going to go to Chris Garrett. 14th place going to go to David Gervais. Heartbreaking week for David last week, trying to rebound this week here from Talladega. 15th going to go to the 95 there of Charlie Widener. And J.J. Garrett in the 35 going to roll off 16th. 17th starting spot here tonight going to go to Francois Lavoie as he starts that 397 machine 17th. John Francois Poulette going to start there 18th. And James Ratliff going to start the 42 there in our 19th starting spot. Shotgun to the field here tonight as they come through turns 3 and 4 for the first time. We will go green flag racing for the first time here. Going to be a long crawl. Once we see the pace car make the left, it starts to go left here off turn number 4. Looks like we're going to bring the speed up just a little bit here just to get us closer to the start-finish line. As I said, I believe, but it looks like Trey Hoovler decided, ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here from Talladega, as it's going to spread the field out very quickly. Odd little start there, but Trey Hoovler does have the top spot with Chris Stump there in tow. I believe you got to go all the way back here to the number 27 of DeMarco Starks, who was on the outside there of the 94 machine for just a brief moment. They worked it out, so it looks like we're green flag racing here and single file. As the field starts to come back together off turn 3 and 4 here, coming through the tri-oval to lead the first lap here at Talladega. Looks like it's going to be, don't count your chickens before they hatch, but there it is. Trey Hoovler in the number 90 leads the first lap here from Talladega. Single file here for your first couple spots, and you got to go back. DeMarco Starks making the 27 known on the outside there, being pushed by the 77 of Dustin Ping. We were told Ping would come to the front, and he is. Got to go a little bit farther back here. You got to go to J.J. Garrett running back here in your 14th spot. He's holding the 15th spot right now with Charlie Wider and Francois Paulette and Francois Lavoie back here. four-car little truck tandem going back there, but the battle is up here. Look, here comes the number 27 of DeMarco Starks, this time off turn number 4. He's going to be side by side into the trial room with Trey Hoovler here. Who's going to lead lap number 2 from Talladega? Leading lap number 2, going to go to the 27 of Starks there, so Starks going to etch his name into the book here for tonight. Side by side for the first 4 positions at the front of the field. Looks like that, I believe that's the 57 of Chris Garrett coming up through the field. He's being pushed by Gervais there in the 39 machine. Both those drivers having some good runs last week and then just not able to finish them off. But Chris Garrett is bringing that top lane there, trying to catch up to your 2 guys on the outside of DeMarco Starks and the 77 there of Ping, as now it's going to be a 4-car train at the top side. Complete lap number 3 here, working lap number 4. It looks like Ping going to try and go to the top side, or maybe he's going to go to the back, kind of tag the back of the field most likely as Ping pulls high in the 77 machine. DeMarco Starks also going to pull high, so that'll leave now the 57 of Chris Garrett 3 wide in the middle. See him all fan out going down the backstretch. Jamie there in the number 9 there. That voice attack machine going below the yellow line to try and just give room to everybody behind him. Going to work here off turn 4. Working lap number 4. Has led 2 laps. It looks like he's going to be the guy to come by this time by, lead him past the stripe, so give him 3 laps led now out front for Trey Hoovler in the number 90. Looks like everybody but one driver right now. I believe the 42, James Ratliff, is off track in that machine. He's shown right now in your 19th spot. That 57 there of Chris Garrett. Still pulling the outside train. Chris Garrett in the 57. It looks like Stephen Page wants to come up there and join, and then he decides better, he tucks back into the line, maybe just trying to get some air to the front end of that number 1 Toyota. But as Chris Garrett pulls the outside lane, he has DeMarco Starks out there with him, and then David Gervais in that number 39 machine. I believe that brightly yellow truck right there, the rookie in the number 24 being Sean Bazin right now, and I believe that's the Jag-sponsored Chevrolet. That's the 4 drivers there to your outside lane. It's still Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump, Dustin Phillips, Stephen Page, and Jamie Christensen rounding out the top 5 as they run. As they're going to make it 3 wide, here comes DeMarco Starks. He's going to go to the outside. He's going to put the 57 there of Chris Garrett into the middle there, into the sucker hole. Doesn't look like right now anybody willing to go down there. Oh, it looks like J.J. Garrett. J.J. Garrett is around in that pink number 35 machine spinning through the grass. He keeps it off the racing surface, so it doesn't look like a caution will be brought out. He's still trying to get the handle on the 35 as it is well all over the place, but looks like he should be able to get that point in the right direction. We're going to stay green flag racing. That's going to be a tough break for JJ, as now he'll be all by himself, and I believe he had a little bit of a damage on the front end of that pink number 35. Out front, though, still going to be Trey Hoovler. It's the same song, same dance. Hoovler, Stump, Phillips, Page, and then Christensen, your top 5 drivers here from Talladega. Working lap number 7 down the super stretch back here. The Alabama gang backstretch. But as we talk about that outside lane, oh, David Gervais a little bit loose there in that 39 machine. He'll have to back out of it. He's going to lose a spot there. It's going to be Pascal there in the 182 machine. He'll take that spot. But look at the guys outside there, all by themselves. It's going to be the 57 of Chris Garrett and Sean Bazin. Trying to make their presence known to the outside. At that time by, though, Trey Hoovler still finds himself in that advanced auto parts machine out front. So far, so good here on lap number 8. J.J. Garrett, though, is down pit road in that 35 machine, so he's going to try and get some service done to that machine to get back out on track. is still shown on the lead lap here. That inside lane, though, with Chris Stump really pushing Trey Hoovler, it seems just to be the quick way around, as it looks like the motor on J.J. Garrett's machine going to explode here coming off turn number 4. Along with the 77 of Dustin Ping. Ping also going to come down pit road along with the 35 of J.J. Garrett. Looks like Dustin Ping, an unscheduled stop here on lap number 9 for driver of the 77. Let's go back here to your leaders. Trey Hoovler still leading them around here at Talladega. Chris Garrett in the 57, that Under Armour machine 57 out there with the camouflage front end. You can't see the front end of that truck, but don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Chris is there, and right now he's shown side by side with the 33 there of Dustin Phillips, who holds down the 3rd spot there in the Hawkeye truck in 33. It's pretty impressive to see that just those 2 trucks to the outside, the 57 of Garrett and the 24 of Bazin, that they're able to sit right there on the outside. Looks like Dustin Ping in the 77. That'll be the truck to the inside here coming off turn number 2. He just got done with his service. You see all the drivers working and snaking their way around the 77 machine down on the apron. But as we were saying, it's pretty impressive that the 2-car tandem at the top side of the track are able to stay out there and stay with the draft. It's going to be a 3-truck now group, as that looks like that's the 182 there on Pascal as he joins the top side of the track. Maybe he thinks it's time to go here on lap number 10. Coming to complete 10, going to be Trey Hoovler out in front. Trey Hoovler has led every lap here tonight except for 1 lap. That's when Starks came up, led a lap, and then he dropped to the back of the field. Just got confirmation that the 35 of J.J. Garrett has now loaded that machine up, and he'll look to head off to next week. Next week's race for these guys, we're gonna go from one of the largest tracks on the circuit all the way down to the concrete mile at Dover Downs International. Right now, this week, it's still Talladega Super Speedway as they work off turn number 4. Coming into the tri-oval, still the same 2 on the bottom groove leading the way. Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump. But, man, that 57 has some horsepower to pull 3 cars now on the outside. The 3rd car now going to be the 95 of Charlie Widener. And Charlie Widener in that number 95 machine after winning at Texas didn't have a couple finishes that he liked back-to-back. But here from Talladega, he had a quick truck in practice, and it's still showing that he can come up to the front here and play with the boys tonight. So far, so good. You see Chris Garrett still hanging right there, right in between 2nd and 3rd place, or 2nd and 4th place now because he's shown in 3rd. DeMarco Starks, who led a lap right there, 27 machine, the red truck right in front of David Gervais. He led a lap and then elected to go straight to the back of the field here, and he's just kind of hanging out, riding at the back. David Gervais, he's also back here. 2 of the Francois are back here running in the 15th and 16th spot, and Dustin Ping is 1 lap down. So 17 drivers still out on track, 16 drivers still on the lead lap, but everybody is right here inside this pack. Looking a little bit farther up, it looked like Charlie Widener got a little bit loose entering turn 3. He went up, almost smacked the wall. He's going to lose a lot of ground. He went from being right up behind the number 24, Sean Bazin, and now he's all the way back into the 12th spot, and it looks like he's continuing to drop. Charlie Widener right now showed in that 12th position. Let's go back up front because here comes Chris Garrett. Little by little, Chris Garrett is still trying to make the outside lane work. He is not going to give up. He's not the kind of person to roll over and say die. So he'll stay out there until somebody can prove him wrong that he can't hang on to the outside. And right now, ain't nobody going to tell Chris Garrett that he can't hang out there in that Under Armour 57. Fuel run here tonight, I believe, is somewhere in the 30-lap range. So this time by, we should just be about halfway. It's going to be a fuel strategy race. Remember, it's an open setup league here for the National Speed Association. That means that these guys aren't running the same gear ratio. Everybody's probably out there running a little bit different. Comes the 57. Now it looks like he's pulled side by side with Chris Stump there for the second spot. So little by little every lap, you can see the 57 is starting to edge closer to Trey Hoovler. Doesn't seem like Chris Stump right now is tucked up underneath Hoovler, as he knows it's pretty early in the race here. Doesn't want to push the envelope. You know, not ladies, but Chris Stump out here, who's more known for his short track ability, showing that he still can even get her done at the super speedways. At the line, though, is still going to be Trey Hoovler in that number 90 machine out front. As that goes on, checking back up on the 95 here are Charlie Widener. It looks like now he's still shown in the 12th position. He's starting to lose the draft a little bit. Wonder maybe if the tires on that truck have started to go away. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a super speedway. We understand that. But with an open setup, maybe something not clicking right on the 95. Maybe has a little too much camber built up in the right front, not able to hold it down there on the yellow line. You see a little bit of a wiggle there coming through the center of the corner, so the truck could just be a little bit free. Charlie's still able to get the draft back there where he's at. Nothing changed that time by at the line. Still Hoover, Stump, Phillips, Garrett, Page, and Bazin rounding out your top 6 drivers right now. Christensen is running 7th. Mortai there at 8th. Francois Matt is 9th. And Samara runs in your 10th position. 2 different strategies there. Trey Hoover going to take him right down to the yellow line, but Chris Garrett going to put him right up against the wall. Come by this time, we're going to complete lap number 17, so that'll give Trey Hoovler 17 laps out front. It's going to be interesting to see as we're on a long green flag run here when we're going to get to the pits, or get to the green flag pit stops, and how everybody can orchestrate that. I don't believe I saw too many guys try to enter pit road in practice when we were sitting here watching these guys, so maybe they had practiced that throughout the week and they felt pretty confident on that, being able to pit together, and that's going to be the next question. Who's going to pit together? Who's going to, be the odd man out who doesn't get to pit road with somebody? Because if you don't come down pit road and have a drafting partner, it's going to be a long day if we get a green flag run for the whole duration. No stage racing here for the National Speed Association. It's green to the checkered flag. Get a caution flag in between there. We'll bunch them back up. But otherwise, if they get away from each other, that's on them. And at the line that time by, still going to be Trey Hoovler. Chris Garrett, though, is now side by side with your leaders. Jean-Francois Matt there in the 218 has joined the outside group. Dustin Phillips still sitting there, the third car to the inside lane, along with Stephen Page. Those two guys have been just kind of hanging out there. Nobody's pushing the envelope. They're just logging the green flag laps. They know it's 94 laps tonight here from Talladega, and they're not going to push the envelope. But Chris Garrett, he tried to go up there and take the lead. It's not going to work for him. He's going to give up that outside front spot. Now it's going to be led by the 24, Sean Bazin. Can Bazin do anything in that brightly colored 24 machine? Chris Garrett drops to the back of the field here. He'll be shown now in your 9th spot. Carl Savard rounds out the top 10, who's right behind him with that green spoiler, black number 224 machine. One of our drivers here tonight from the north. Someone who's having a good showing here tonight, going to be the 94 machine. And that's Michael Lortai right there in that red and black 94 truck. First time racing here with the National Speed Association. And right now has that 94 truck up inside the top 10 here. We don't have any stats to talk about Michael Lortai, but right now has that truck to the inside there. Now we're starting to get a little bit of shuffling going on. Jamie Christensen has taken the Voice Attack number 9 machine to the outside lane. So it's still Trey Hubler out front. Chris Stump hanging there in your 2nd position. Dustin Phillips hanging in 4th. Stephen Page is shown 5th right now because he was passed to the outside there by that yellow 24 of Bazin. Charlie Widener has closed up back onto the back tail of the field here. Charlie's shown 11. So 11 trucks in your top draft here, followed by Pascal Rasuli, who is right there running in your 12th spot. He still has the draft, and then it's a ways back, a whole 7 seconds till you find these guys back here. Francois Pilote, and I believe that is Francois Lavoie back here. DeMarco Starks and David Gervais. Those guys right now are running 8 seconds behind your leader, 7 seconds behind the tail end of the pack there, which is Pascal once again in the 12th position. That outside lane still being towed around the track here by the 24 of Sean Bazin. I'm surprised that we haven't seen too many more guys go up to the outside. A lot of times when we come to Talladega, whether it's in the trucks or the Xfinity cars, we kind of see that outside line. If you can get some guys up there nose to tail, you can really make the outside lane hum around here. But in the early goings, just trying to log the laps. You see a truck up there into the distance. That's going to be the 77 right there of Dustin Ping, as he made that unscheduled pit stop 13 laps ago, so on lap number 10. He's gone 1 lap down, and now the field is starting to run down the 77 of Dustin Ping to possibly put him another lap down. There's the field off turn number 4 once again. Coming to complete lap 23, Trey Hubler has the number 90 Advanced Auto Parts machine out front. Chris Stump is 2nd, followed by the 24 to the outside. That's going to be Sean Bazin. Then it's Dustin Phillips. Then it's Francois Matt. And then it's Stephen Page in 6th. Michael Lortai in the 94 shown 7th. Jamie Christensen in 8th. Carl Samard 9th. And Chris Garrett rounds out the top 10. Pascal Brasoulet, though, runs in the 11th spot. And Charlie Widener in this front pack runs 12th. So 12 cars under a blanket here on lap 24. As they work off the corner, Hubler still to the inside with Stump and Phillips, 1, 2, and 3. There for a moment, it looked like the number 1 truck there from the inside lane, the yellow number 1 color, which is the white and blue truck there, 4th car to the inside. It looked like there for a moment he was going to go up there and try and get in behind Francois Matt there in the 218 machine, and then he elected to go back down to the bottom yellow lane there and stay to the inside. You see these drivers giving each other a lot of room here in the early goings. Working lap 25. Looking at the stats here, Trey Hoovler has made 5 races this year with the National Speed Association. Started inside your top 5, all except for 1 race. Over at Martinsville, he started in the 12th position and he finished 2nd. He had a great run coming through the field there. Didn't lead any laps, though, at Martinsville. As there's a side-by-side battle for the lead, this time off turn number 4, going to be the 24, Sean Bazin to the outside. Can he get to the line before the number 90 of Trey Hoovler and take the point? Not this time. Trey Hoovler still going to hold on to that. Trey does have 1 DNF. That came back all the way at Richmond. He was caught up in a midway point accident there on lap 96. He had to retire the number 90 truck there. But every finish since Martinsville has been 2nd, 4th, 2nd, 4th, and right now tonight here from Talladega, he has first place under lock and key. Nobody's taking it from him right now. As there is the 77 of Dustin Ping. Going to give a little bit of draft to the outside there of Sean Bazin, but he's going to elect to stay high, and he will move out of your leader's way as he'll go 2 laps down now to your leaders. So it looks like everybody's making their way around the lap truck there of Dustin Ping. Hopefully Dustin can catch the tail of the field here and suck into the draft. He has an open spot right now in front of Charlie Widener as he does get down, so Widener now going to tail the caboose of the train as Dustin Ping files into your lead lap cars. Oh, it looks like a little bit of connection issues for the 77 also. Well, we are 2 by 2. Look at him come down the backstretch into turn 3. 2 by 2 for the front pack here. That's 12 drivers, 13 drivers when you add Dustin Ping into the mix, all under the blanket here on lap 28 off turn number 4. We're come through the tri-oval here to complete lap 28. Trey Hoovler, the man out front. But that outside lane starting to get formed up. A couple of fast trucks up there. Sean's been pulling the outside team along with Francois Matt. And now that Jamie Christensen's moved up there, Chris Garrett has moved up. And the 77 of Ping, who's a lap down, but right there hanging on to the back. This is actually the outside lane. Lost the driver, I believe. That was Carl Simard, went back to the inside lane, so that kind of sucked the outside row back just a little bit. Gave a little bit of breathing room to Trey Hoovler and Chris Stump out front. So as they come to complete lap 29, we're going to be watching to see when these drivers elect to try and bring these trucks down pit road. Because side by side, if you're on the outside and you call pitting in, it's probably not going to work out for yourself or the guy to your inside because you never know if he's going to be coming down pit road. So we're keeping an eye and see if anybody's going to peel off down pit road. Right now, though, nobody's shown coming down pit road, obviously, because everybody here, except for 4 drivers in this pack, or in this race, are right here with the top group. They are still putting down some blistering lap times right around the 51 seconds out there as we're working lap 30. No takers from pit road here on lap 30. They're probably going to try and stretch it because my math is right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I'm from Pennsylvania. Sometimes the math doesn't work out all that great. But you can make this on a 2-stop race if you pit here between lap 31 and 35. Then you can pit again in about another 30 laps and go the rest of the way on that tank of fuel. But the question is, how much does Trey Hoovler have left in the tank? Because he's been out front the entirety except for 1 lap, but really he was still down on the inside lane pulling that inside around. Yes, he has the short way around. He's hugging down there closer to the yellow line. So that'll give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there, unlike the 24 there, Sean Bazin, who's pretty much been up to the outside with Chris Garrett. Chris Garrett now, who's back towards the back of the field there. You see the bright X on the hood of that machine. But how much does Sean Bazin have in the tank of that Silverado? So So just 2 drivers left to the outside there. It's Bazin and then Francois Matt. Everybody else has really started the single file out. It looks like the 77 of Dustin Ping was out of line there for a moment, but he tucks back into the inside lane. So everybody single file except 2 drivers here. And you talk about everybody, and then, of course, Charlie Widener has to pull the 95 machine out of line, and then he gets back in, but Dustin Ping is now shuffled out. Looks like no takers in the front pack here this time by. Let's take a look and see where the 27 of DeMarco Starks is. David Gervais, Francois Pilet, and Francois Lavoie back here. They're still running 17, almost 18 seconds behind your lead pack. 4 drivers just trying to stay out of trouble here from Talladega. Back to the front group here, though. Still under green flag conditions here on lap 33. Had a little bit of a jump start, a little craziness. But so far, so good. See the glistening of the sun off the rear deck lids of these trucks here as they come through the corners. It is a sunny day here from Talladega. It's actually dropped a degree on the track temp right now. Track temp sitting right there at the 98-degree marker. Air temp tonight, 80 degrees in Alabama. We do have a wind of 12 miles an hour in the east direction, so that could cause a problem in some of the corners here. But no problems for Trey Hoovler in the number 90 out front. Chris Stump second. Dustin Phillips still glued to the back bumper of that Cialis machine as he's third. Stephen Page is fourth. Sean Bazin shown fifth. Michael Lortai shown in your sixth spot. Francois Matt is 7th. Carl Samar is 8th. Jamie Christensen right now runs 9th. And Chris Garrett rounds out the top 10. Looks like here comes Charlie Widener in the 95 machine. He's going to come to pit road. He's going to bring, it looks like that's the 57 of Chris Garrett. And then it's going to be Dustin Ping in the 77. So 3 trucks here in your lead pack going to come down pit road. No speeding penalties is what these drivers want as they come down pit road. You get a speeding penalty and a hold for 15 seconds. It could spell disastrous. You're not going to come out of pit road with a dancing partner, so they're hit their marks. Looks like we have a couple other guys. Looks like David Gervais coming down pit road here, but it looks like he is all by himself. Can he be the man of steel and come down? Oh, DeMarco Starks. It looks like Starks possibly had a little bit of issues coming into pit road because remember, he was leading that pack. I think he may have locked it up and spun the tires a little bit, but it looks like these 3 drivers here, Garrett, Widener, and Ping, all going to get their service done, and they're headed back out onto the racing surface. Who's going to come by this time and come down pit road, though? Is your leader's off turn number 4. Looks like everybody's going to stay in line here and stay out. Off in the distance, you saw those guys who were just starting to work off pit road. They're going to get swallowed up here by the pack. I believe possibly by the time we get to turn 3. Let's see, because there's Trey Hoovler on track right here coming off turn number 2. Where's Chris Garrett? Chris Garrett is leading the pack, but Charlie Widener's a good distance behind. You could probably stick a football field between Charlie Widener and Chris Garrett, and then you have Ping, who's about 4 car lengths off the back bumper of the 95, and then here comes Trey Hoovler. They are starting to really reel those guys in. No takers that time by for your leaders. So you still got 12 drivers who have yet to take the green flag pit stop. Charlie Widener has got hooked up with the 77 of Ping, and Ping is all over the back bumper of that 95 Mountaineers machine, trying to catch him back up to the 57 of Chris Garrett because they know the leaders are coming. They know they're right behind him, and they don't want to go a lap down in case the yellow flag would come out for somebody making a mistake coming to pit road, because it could happen here. But your leaders are coming. They are about 10 miles an hour faster. Look at them close up onto the back here of these guys. Your leaders are setting a blistering pace, and they are coming like hungry sharks for the back of the field here. So Trey Hoovler has now caught the 77 of Ping. What's he going to do when he gets to the back bumper, though? right now it actually looks like everybody's speed is just about evened out. As Trey Hoovler just going to ride there behind Ping. Ping leaves the inside door open, but Trey Hoovler not going to take the bait. He's not going to try to go to the inside here. Trey Hoovler not going to the outside either, possibly trying to save some fuel in the number 90. Fuel-saving mode for everybody else who's just been in line, like Chris Stump, Dustin Phillips, Stephen Page. They've just kind of ran that inside lane all night long so far. Let's see here on lap 38, are your leaders going to dive off behind these guys to bring it to pit road? Here comes Trey Hoovler. Hoovler off the pace. He's going to come down. It looks like Dustin Phillips is going to come with. Looks like your entire field. Oh, boy, I think I see Carl Simard going around. Simard goes around. He catches Francois Matt, I believe, in the 218 machine. So contact there as those guys are going to come down pit road. Let's see if we can back it up and see where that contact came from. Let's go above here from the chopper cam. There you see Carl Simard in the 224 machine coming in a little hot, locks it up, gets right into the side of Francois Matt. Driver there in the 218 goes sideways, hits the commitment cone, but gets it pointed down into pit road. No yellow coming out. Every driver going to hit their pit box here. Well, right now it's showing that just 2 drivers have yet to come down pit road. That's going to be Francois Pilote, and I believe that's Francois Lavoie out here. So Francois in the 213 machine, leading Francois here in the 397. So all drivers who were involved there of Carl Simard and Francois Matt are back out on track. Now here comes your other 2 leaders. Oh, look at Francois. Here in the 213, your leader a little bit sideways coming off turn 4 onto the binders. He'll get it woed down here to try and get the pit road as he hits pit road. Let's see where everybody else is out there. Trey Hoovler is leading. Chris Stump, Dustin Phillips, they are all right there. And then a second behind them going to be Stephen Page all by himself. And then you got to go another second back before you find Jamie Christensen, who's leading the pack, as actually he's going to get swallowed up by the next group of guys. That's Chris Garrett and the 95 there are Charlie Widener and the 77 of Dustin Ping, who's shown 2 laps down right now. Jamie going to try to latch onto that 4 and make it a 4-car group, because Stephen Page has started to reel in your leaders as he has that nice draft behind him, or in front of him actually. So right now here with the green flag pit stops, everybody getting a little bit spread out. Now the question is, can the 4-car group here at the front of this one with Hoovler, Stump, Phillips, and Page run away from the 3 cars back here of Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener, and I believe, yes, that is the 77 of Dustin Ping, because Jamie Christensen has lost the draft, and it does look like these 3 drivers are coming with the head of steam. They are 10 miles an hour faster than your leaders here, who are a 4-car tandem. As there it is, Chris Garrett going to jump to the outside here with Charlie Widener and Ping to the outside. You got 7 cars here, 6 cars in your pack that are on the lead lap, and right now that time by Chris Garrett, going to etch his name into the book. And then as soon as Chris Garrett and Charlie Widener clear Trey Hoovler, they just ditch the 77 there of Dustin Ping. So Ping now going to try and have to see if he can fall in line here and catch the back of this group. If not, he does have the number 9 of Jamie Christensen, who runs right behind him. Well, since we now have gone through our cycle of green flag pit stops here on lap 41, let's walk through your top 10 as they drive. Right now, Chris Garrett is out front. He is right there in the Under Armour 57 machine. Right behind him, though, going to be his buddy, partner in crime there, Charlie Widener in the 95. And the man that's trying to make a move to the outside here going to be Trey Hoovler, as it looks like. Even Chris Stump, who runs in your 4th spot. Dustin Phillips in 5th and Stephen Page in 6th. Those guys going to go right to the outside, see if they can make the outside lane work with 4 trucks. Running in your 7th spot, though, back just a little bit, about 2 seconds behind your leader, going to be the number 9 here of Jamie Christensen in the voice attack machine. Pascal Bersoule right now in the 182, running in your 8th spot. 9th going to be John Francois Matt, running right there in the 218 machine. He was involved in that little scuffle on pit road. He runs 9th, and Michael Lortai runs all by himself 8 seconds behind Francois Matt, 20 seconds behind your leaders in the 94 here, though. You find Michael running in the 10th spot. That's your top 10 drivers as you see your leaders way out in front. That's your top 10 drivers after green flag pit stops. Just behind him, though, running in the 11th position, going to be the 39 of David Gervais. Sean Bazin, not sure what happened. Oh boy, he had a long pit lane stay. It looks like 59 seconds down pit road. Might have missed his pit stall at one point. So right now, Sean Bazin runs in the 12th spot. DeMarco Starks runs just behind them here in the 27 machine. He runs 13th. Jean-Francois Pilote in the 213 runs 14th. And rounding out your cars on your lead lap, going to be right behind him, Francois Lavoie. Lavoie it is, I believe. Runs 15th place right now, last car on your lead lap. Running one lap down out there, Carl Samard, after taking a loop on pit road, runs 16th, one lap down. Dustin Ping, who's out here, who's now been passed by Jamie Christensen in the number 9 as they are nose to tail. He runs 17th, 2 laps down. Out front, though, Trey Hoovler back to the point. So Trey Hoovler leading the charge on the outside lane. He's got 4 guys that are behind him working with him. Got Chris Stump, who's literally been glued to the back bumper of that number 90 all night long so far here for 44 laps. Then it's Stephen Page, who's been glued, or sorry, not Stephen Page, it's actually the 33 of Dustin Phillips, who's been glued to the back bumper of Chris Stump. And then you have Stephen Page, who's been glued to the back bumper of Dustin Phillips. So those 4 drivers to the outside, nose to tail, 4 Toyotas, working together here tonight. And as we complete lap 45, now shows that Trey Hoovler has been out front for 40 laps out of those 44 laps completed. Pretty impressed, though, those 2 guys to the inside there, Chris Garrett and the 95 there, and Charlie Widener, they've been able to really hold their own, whether it's the inside lane or the outside lane, all night long. We saw in the early going that Chris Garrett led the charge to the outside for a number of laps and just made her sit there and was able to hold his own until he decided to go tag the rear of the field. Let's see who's going to lead this lap here on lap 45. Give it to Trey Hoovler once again. Let's see if we can go on board with Chris Stump around the track here. That's a lap around Talladega Superspeedway. You see how Chris Stump's holding his hands there. Not a lot of movement out of the wheel. At these speeds of 190 miles an hour plus, there's no need to really be making big movements on the wheel. And there you see Chris Stump, nice and easy on that one. There was your ride around the Talladega Superspeedway with the man who runs second on that outside lane, Chris Stump. There's your running order right now on the left-hand side of the screen. You see everybody out there. Right now, James Ratliff is 45 laps down off the track. He is out of the race here tonight, along with the 35 of J.J. Garrett, who's been off track here for the last 40 laps. Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump, Dustin Phillips, and Stephen Page still to the outside over the 57 here, Chris Garrett and Charlie Widener to the inside. We are past the halfway point now with only 47 laps to go in this one. Now it's going to be 46 laps to go. We do thank everybody for tuning in here tonight on the newly acquired Turn 3 Racing Network to watch the National Speed Association presented by Voice Attack here from the Talladega Superspeedway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like the kind of racing you see here done by the National Speed Association, go ahead, hit the thumbs up, show the league that you appreciate exactly what they're doing. Go ahead, hit the little bell. Get notifications anytime somebody goes live here on the new Turn 3 Racing Network. Got a couple broadcasts lined up throughout the week, so you can catch us at all different kinds of the hours on the night. Right now, the people that are trying to catch anybody, that's trying to catch the two guys who have been out front the most here tonight, the 90 of Trey Hoovler and the 57 there, the inside Chris Garrett. Chris Garrett, your points championship leader, just wants to have a good run, and he's doing everything in his power right now. He does have the advantage here tonight because he is in the points battle with Chris Stump, and Chris Stump right now runs third, shown on this, or fourth, it bounces back and forth. It's a super speedway. You never know. It's going to continue to swap back and forth. But right now, Stump does have that Cialis machine to the outside, shown second now. But Stump does not have a lap led here tonight, but Chris Garrett does. Let's see where Jamie Christensen is. Right now, Christensen is 11 seconds back in that number 9 Voice Attack machine off the front of the field here. Then you got to go about 13 seconds back behind him before you find this group of drivers. This is Pascal Brosoulet, Francois Matt, and I believe that is Carl Samard there in the 224 machine. So 3 drivers back here, a little bit off the front pack. You got to go 11 seconds back till you find this group of drivers. Michael Lortai back here in the 94 leads this group with Sean Bazin, David Gervais, and DeMarco Starks. That's 10th through 13th position. Back up front, it looks like it's going back and forth again. Oh, Charlie Widener, you saw the flames come out of the 95 machine. He was on the apron. He lifted a little bit. We're going to see if he's going to be able to stay with the lead pack, because with only this many cars here in the lead pack, nobody behind him, that little bit of a lift could spell disaster. We're going to have to keep an eye on Charlie Widener. I think he got the 95 back up to full song and dance, though. He should be able to stay right here with the leaders. But that gave the outside lane the advantage, and Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump, Dustin Phillips have all cleared that inside lane there. Right now, Stephen Page still trying to clear, and there it is. Now that outside lane becomes the inside lane, and we go single file here for your first 6 cars. By this time, we're going to complete lap 52, put it in the books. Trey Hoovler out front. We're going to work around a couple of the lap cars here. Francois Lavoie and Francois Pilote going to go 1 lap down here. Those drivers running 14th and 15th on the grid. Single file here. Those 2 drivers who just went a lap down will file into the tail of the field here. So we're going to gain a couple more cars to this front pack. Now we got 8 cars here towards the front. Oh, a little bit of a, it looks like Wawa in that 397 there hit the apron a little bit. That black truck running in the back of the field here. now they're about halfway through this pit cycle as they come through the tri-oval once again. These guys now in your leaders, other than, I believe, the 57 of Garrett and Widener, who have been out there for 22 laps on their pit cycle. Everybody else is out there for 17 laps. So possibly in 10 laps, you're going to see Chris Garrett and Charlie Widener once again peel off and head towards pit road. We're going to have to wait for that. Then you got these guys back here. David Gervais and DeMarco Starks are on the same schedule here on 20 laps. Sean Bazin and Michael Lortai, though, on 16. A little bit of jockeying back there around the Charlie Widener spot. In 6th position, and your handful of lap cars there with him kind of look like they're a little bit trying to figure out what each other want to do. Chris Stump trying to breathe the truck because he's been tucked up underneath Hoovler for how many laps now? As you see them all in a line here on lap 56. Talked about the Chris Stump machine, the 98 Cialis machine. Chris Stump has been having one heck of a season, did miss a race, and also didn't get to turn a lap, but I believe that was, or he took the provisional from Texas. Chris Stump, in his 6 starts, he's finished 1st, 8th, 1st, 7th, and then 12th. So he's been having a good season so far here with the National Speed Association, and it shows in the points with him only being 6 points out of your points lead. Chris Stump, one of those guys, we've seen him a lot, and he's mainly running pro late models on short tracks, and he comes out here in the trucks with an open setup and proves that he can build himself a solid setup to work on these mile tracks, 1.5 miles, and even here from the Talladega Super Speedway tonight as he's been tucked up underneath. He's got a fast truck there and able to push. So on the year, Chris Stump has a win percentage of 50%. 3 wins, 4 poles, 3 top 5s, and 5 top 10s for Chris Stump. So you saw it on screen there. Charlie Widener in that 95 went to the back of the field here. He's still got the draft. He's just elected to back her off just a little bit as Dustin Phillips with a big wiggle out of the 33. Stephen Page followed him right up the track going into turn 4. As now Chris Garrett says maybe it's time to go, or maybe he's going to drop to the back here. I believe he's going to take a hit for a moment. Possibly trying to get his strategy worked out here with Charlie Widener, as Widener is going to come to the back bumper of the 57 off turn 2. It's still 8 cars here at the front of this one, as it looks like, there it is, Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener going to start talking about their plans to come to pit road for the last time. So a lot of these guys go about, I believe Charlie Widener and Chris Garrett came down, I believe it was lap 30 when they hit pit road. It could have been coming to 31, though. Or keep an eye when they come down, as they're come across the line. They've been out there now for 26 laps. As your leaders are out here, they're starting to close in on this pack right here. Michael Lortai, Sean Bazin, David Gervais, and DeMarco Starks. There you see your leaders just coming off the corner. So they got about a half a straightaway lead right now over your lead pack, but with only 4 cars versus the 8 cars in your lead pack, they might get swallowed up here before we see our next cycle of green flag pit stops. Looking at the speeds, though, between your leaders and this group, it's maybe a mile-an-hour difference down the straightaway, so it's going to be a slow climb for your leaders to catch this group. Once again, we are here from the Talladega Super Speedway here with the National Speed Association. Open setup races every Sunday night right here on the new Turn 3 Racing Network. And what a show they always put on here with the NSA boys. And it's not a surprise that we've been green flag racing here for 60 laps in the books already, working lap 61. Even when we head to a short track, it's green flag racing all the time, action-packed. Right now, though, these guys just trying to make it to the end of this race. If you just tuned in, don't worry, you don't want to go anywhere, because once we get down to the 10 to go, watch all heck break loose, because these boys are going to battle it out. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to see 3-wide action here towards the end of this one. Down pit road, though, Chris Garrett and Charlie Widener were last time by. We kind of missed that one as we were talking. But they are down pit road. They have completed their service. It looks like they're going to be in good standing here because they're going to be able to possibly latch onto the back here of David Gervais and DeMarco Starks. Looks like Chris Garrett going to be the better off, though, of the two drivers, as it looks like even Chris Garrett's going to actually end up losing that draft. Looks like David Gervais going to come in behind here. He's going to bring along DeMarco Starks. Let's see where your leaders are. Your leaders are going to stay out. So Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump. Oh, Trey Hoovler going to get hooked coming through the tri-oval. Hoovler going to take the scenic route, going to go through the grass. He's going to hang on to it, though, but it's going to shuffle your leaders here. Now Chris Stump going to put his name into the book here tonight. Chris Stump going to lead, but now your leaders are all sorts of discombobulated. It's Stump, Phillips, Hoovler, Stephen Page, and then you still got the two lap-down trucks in the mix here with your leaders. Two of the Francois tagging on to the back of this front pack. So Trey Hoovler able to hang on to that number 90 Advanced Auto Parts machine, possibly wanting to come down pit road at this point now for Hoovler. Wants to put maybe at least two tires on that truck, but they're going to stay out there. Your leaders are going to continue to work around the track. Jamie Christensen came in pit road. It looks like he's going to go one lap down for the number 9 here of Jamie, as he's the only one on pit road. Working lap 64, starting to close in now towards the end of this race. One final pit stop here tonight should do it for these guys. They're inside the window now. They see 30 laps to go next time by. So let's see if your leaders here, led by now Chris Stump, elect to bring him down pit road. It looks like all your leaders going to stay out. We're going to cycle around one more time before they elect to come down. Is looking just a little bit ahead. It looks like Chris Garrett and Charlie Widener are starting to run down Michael Lortai and Sean Bazin out there. So you got 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th right here. Now 4 trucks that are going to be hooked together, but Michael Lortai and Sean Bazin, they still have to pit, as here comes Chris Garrett. He's going to go to the outside. Maybe they had radioed over. The spotters told him that, hey, we're probably pitting this time by. Just go ahead to the outside. Don't want to hold you up. You have the momentum. So Charlie Widener, Chris Garrett going to go to the high line here and try and work around those two guys as they take the positions from them. As those two drivers not going to duck to pit road, but Charlie Widener and Chris Garrett had such a head of steam, they didn't want to lift off the throttle at all, so they elected to go to the outside. David Gervais here in the 39 machine at the back of this pack here. He's following DeMarco Starks. Both those drivers have come down pit road. Carl Samard is mixed in here in the 224 machine running 14th. He is yet to come down. You got groups of trucks all over the track here. Everybody just a little bit spread out. Your leaders, you see them coming down the backstretch, led by Chris Stump. There's going to be a pack right here that's going to form up and possibly try and keep together to walk away from your leaders. They don't want to get tangled up and go a lap down. A couple of these guys, though, in the mix are a lap down. You got guys on different strategies. You're going to have to watch out because some of these guys have yet to make their final pit stop, and they're mixed into this little pack. Let's see. Chris Stump, Dustin Phillips, Trey Hoovler. Nope, none of those drivers electing to come down pit road. Everybody going to stay out there. Looks like, oh, Francois there in the 213 machine hits the pit wall coming down pit road. Got a little bit sideways. Let's see if we can go back here on the replay and see what happened to Francois here in the 213. Pilote comes down pit road. He's all by himself, coming to make his final stop here to make it to the end. Comes down. You see the flames coming out the back. Truck starts the wheel hop right there. Got off it, and then right there he went the downshift, and the rear tires just really wheel hopped and around. Went the 213 machine into the inside wall. Heavy contact. He's on pit road still. This time off turn 4. It looks like, no, your leader's not going to come down here. So right now on the lead lap, we still have 10 drivers on the lead lap, and I believe 8 drivers still needing to take their final pit stop here. See that pack right in front of your leaders here. They're kind of battling it out. Led by Chris Garrett in the 57, who runs in your 5th spot. So only 4 drivers actually pretty much ran away with it right now, as these guys all back here on different schedules still dicing it up. So leading this pack here, going to be the 57, Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener, Michael Lorte, Sean Bazin in the mix there, and a whole bunch of other guys. All on different cycles. The man who's all by himself. Yeah, I'll stop singing now. But that's going to be the number 9 here of Jamie Christensen. He has no help, along with Dustin Ping, who's just behind him. Those 2 drivers not close enough to draft with each other and not close enough to have any help. See where your leaders are. Are they going to come this time by? Your 4 leaders going to stay out. Not sure what happened to the 33 of Dustin Phillips, because he was up there with that group that's in front of him. That was a 5-car group. Now it's a 4-car group, because Dustin Phillips is 4.5 seconds behind the tail of the field and 5.3 seconds actually to the leader. So Dustin Phillips, who was running up front all night long, right now something going wrong with the 33, possibly an overheating issue, maybe just kind of got loose and had to back out of her, and then just like that, the 33 went backwards. So now it's 3 drivers up here all by themselves. You got a lap car mixed in there. That's one of the Canadian rednecks, Jean-Francois Lavoie. And here comes your leaders this time by. Oh, here comes Francois. He had a late entry, but he's going to come with him. Francois going to get a little bit sideways there. He's going to get that truck woed up, though, so all 4 drivers going to make it to pit road. A little bit of adventurous, but here comes Dustin Phillips. He's going to come along with the group and try and catch them. So right now, out on track, coming down the backstretch with a head of steam with a big group of trucks behind them. Going to be Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener. They lead that pack. Probably look to see Michael Lortai, who runs right there in that 94 machine, 94 Silverado, and the yellow truck right behind him. Sean Bazin, probably look for them to be coming down pit road here pretty shortly. As I believe here they come this time by, so you're going to take half the drivers that were in that pack. Oh, Sean Bazin got a slider, locking him up, going out. He's going to make the late commitment. Oh, boy, he's going to dive it right into pit road. Almost makes contact. I believe that was with Pascal. So everybody going to get to pit road. A little bit of an adventure there, though, for Sean Bazin. So that's going to turn the lead over here to Chris Garrett and Charlie Widener. Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener right now are in the catbird seat as they have help from DeMarco Starks and David Gervais and Dustin Ping. So you got 5 trucks here, all of them on different strategies, but all in a pack here. And then the 2 that are still together are going to be the 90 of Trey Hoovler, but they are, looks like, 5 seconds behind your leaders. And Chris Stump right still to the back tail of that number 90's truck. So strategies. The question is, what happened to Stephen Page? Because he came in with the leaders, and now he's back here sitting 13 seconds back from your leaders, 7 seconds back behind Trey Hoovler and Chris Stump. So now they are spread out. Jamie Christensen still running all by himself here in that number 9 voice attack machine, running in 7th. DeMarco Starks, who runs right here, 1 lap down. That's because he's battling with the leaders. DeMarco is shown 8th place, 1 lap down. David Gervais, who's pushing the 27 there, the Man of Steel 39. He's in 9th. And Jean-Francois Matt runs in your 10th position. So the whole running order has been shuffled like crazy here in the late going. 22 laps to go here from Talladega, and we've seen green flag racing the entirety. At this point, if we go green the rest of the way, it's going to come down to 2 teammates of Chris Garrett. Can Charlie Widener park the 95 back into victory lane? In 22 laps, we're going to find out how it all works out here from Talladega. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network. The National Speed Association been green flag here for, well, I'm going to go ahead and say it, 73 laps here out of the 94 scheduled from Talladega. We've seen some side-by-side racing now with these green flag pit stops. Everything's been kind of shuffled, and it looks like the number 9 of Jamie Christensen right here going to get swallowed up by this big pack. He's going to go high. He's going to allow your leaders and, well, a couple of your other competitors that are in this pack go right on by, and he's going to try and tag the rear of this group to make it then a 6-car group. So the leader's going to get around Jamie. Jamie runs in that 9th position, as I believe he's going to catch the draft there and be able to hang with your leaders. They're going to come by this time by. Chris Garrett's going to get the 20 to go marker as he runs there in the 57. He's going to be the 3rd truck here in this group. So not only is he out there saving gas, because I know Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener, they like to try and push the envelope, so they probably came in right when their fuel window opened up. So now with them being in the draft, it's just going to help them out, save a little bit of fuel. With 20 laps to go, you see a pretty good cloud cover coming onto the speedway here, so that's going to cool the track temp just a little bit. Looking at it, we've lost 10 degrees in the track since we've gone green flag racing, so this cloud cover really making a drastic change on the racing surface. 20 to go, and it's Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener nose to tail there, right sandwiched in the middle of this group. You got to go 10 seconds back till you find Trey Hoovler, who leads this pack of trucks. It's Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump lead that pack, and that's going to be a mix with Michael Lorte there in the 94 machine, who's shown 1 lap down. And I believe that's going to be Francois Lavoie in that 397 machine, along with Sean Bazin. All those drivers 1 laps down, though. See, the leaders have about a whole straightaway lead over that second pack. I'm going to complete that lap. We're going to go 18 laps to go for Chris Garrett. Charlie Widener still out front here in the middle of this group of cars. DeMarco Starks and David Gervais trying to stay on the lead lap. Jamie Christensen running at the tail of this group here is shown 1 lap down. Work off turn 4 through the tri-oval once again. This pack is being led by DeMarco Starks, David Gervais. Then it's going to be your leaders of Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener. These guys are all battling single file right now. David Gervais and Starks are right now on the lead lap, trying to stay on the lead lap. Carl Samard and Jean-Francois Pilote right here. These two drivers just ahead of that lead pack. Rough night for both these drivers. Samard, both of them actually losing it coming onto pit road. So right now they're still out there running. Carl is in your 15th position, and Francois there in the 213. He's shown in the 17th position. Go back up here to your leaders, though. Still running single file here. 16 laps to go from Talladega. That other group back here, you saw them come off turn 2 in the far picture. If you saw it, you saw a little bit of a snake effect going on. Somebody snuck out a line there, and everybody kind of scattered like ants, like cockroaches when you're turning the lights on. Right now, though, Trey Hoovler still leading this pack back here. Chris Stump there in your 4th spot, and then it's led by a whole bunch of other people back there. Michael Warteg there in the 94. Running 10th, 1 lap down, not having the night that he probably wants. Still a top 10 finish right now at this point, but he's going to have to hold off everybody behind him. Your leader's starting to get into a little bit of a battle. Chris Garrett going to try and pull Charlie Widener as they're coming up on a couple of lap cars, so they go 3 wide. They're shooting the gap up the middle. Carl Samard going to move high also. So DeMarco Starks and David Gervais. Oh, contact between Starks and Gervais. Looked like somebody blinked. Oh, almost contact. David Gervais in the middle. They're going to make contact. David Gervais is going to go around here. He's going to be in the wall. He's off the track in the 39 machine, but that's going to throw a monkey wrench into things. David Gervais and DeMarco Starks having a little bit of a scuffle. Let's go back and see this going into turn 1 here as they come through the tri-oval first. Now you see a little bit of a bump over the top. You see David Gervais disappears, then he reappears. DeMarco Starks doesn't know he's there. Jamie Christensen's on the outside, holds his line. David Gervais, oh, a little bit of net code between those two machines. The 27 and the 39 having net code. David Gervais gonna hit the wall, unfortunately, as he's still out there on track. But now it's going to be the 4 cars right here at the front of this field. Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener, sprinkle in Dustin Ping 3 laps down. They're running in the 3rd truck in line. And then Jamie Christensen running 7th, 1 lap down. Shown 13 laps to go here from Talladega. So a little bit of a blinking issue for David Gervais. I don't want to say take him out of contention. He was 1 lap down, still shown 1 lap down, but David Gervais actually coming down pit road right now, and that machine is going to be a long crawl for him. As your leaders come by, going to put him now 2 laps down. So as we come back live here with Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener leading this pack. Let's see where Trey Hoovler is. Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump, they have the bigger pack here, and they're starting to actually pull back your leaders. The question is, yeah, they have the bigger pack here, but is there enough time? They're actually pulling off about a quarter of a second each lap on your leaders. They were shown about 12 seconds back not too long ago. Now it's right down hovering around the 9-second marker. We're going to have to keep an eye on that and see if your leaders can start to pull in, or your third and fourth place guys start to pull in your leaders. Now it's 8.8 seconds, so they are starting to really pull them in now. Trey Hoovler leading the most laps so far here tonight, trying to. He just wants one shot, see if he can get back to the front there with the likes of Chris Garrett or Charlie Widener. Trey Hoovler has led 58 laps. Chris Garrett has led 15. Chris Stump has led 8. Marco Starks has led 1. And Francois Pilote has led 1. 11 laps to go here from Talladega. 11 laps to go, and let's take a peek at the gap here from Trey Hoovler to Charlie Widener. Now it sits at 8 seconds flat. An 8-second gap for your front two. And there they are. Nose to tail, your front two. Sprinkled in, Dustin Ping once again, and then Jamie Christensen. Something not to the handling likings for Jamie Christensen. Been green flag racing here from Talladega all night long. Almost had a moment there with the 27 machine of Starks and the 39 of Gervais. But we stayed under green flag conditions here. Checking with this other group though, Trey Hoovler now 7.5 seconds back, so chugga, 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 chugga. Here comes Trey Hoovler pulling Chris Stump. Can they get there? Because the leader's going to cross the line now. Now it's going to be 9 laps to go. Chris Garrett came into tonight just wanting to have a good finish. Yeah, he has the points lead, but it's been rough a couple weeks. Oh, they separate. Your two leaders, Charlie Widener and Chris Garrett, separate going down into turn 1. They get together, though, coming back off turn 2, so they're still pull the 4-car train down the backstretch. Chris Garrett last week finishing in your 6th spot from Richmond Raceway, led 29 laps, and then, if I remember correctly, just had it got loose at one point, and the truck went around. And at that point, from there on, he tried to have to chase that truck the rest of the night, not able to get back inside the top 5 as he finished 6th. Chris Garrett, coming into tonight, had led 133 laps, so he's been out front in contention for finishes and just haven't had him lately. He's finished, just in his last 4 races, he has finished 6th, 7th, 4th, and 7th. Tonight, though, looking like he could walk away with a win, if not even a top 3 at least. But hold the phone. Now it's 6.5 seconds, the gap back here to Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump. Michael Lortai just kind of sitting there pushing the little train that could around the track. Francois Lavoie back here in the 397, redneck himself from Canada. One of the redneck from Canada drivers. Sitting there pushing that train also. Pascal Bersouli also in that little mix there, as he's battling with the 24 machine of Sean Bazin. That's actually a battle for position on track. Check back out front here with your leaders. Saw a little bit of smoke. I'm not sure if that was the 77 there of Dustin Ping that blinked just a little bit and threw smoke coming down the backstretch. But it's still a 3-car train with the number 9 of Jamie Christensen just hanging on back here. Going to come through the trial. We're going to get the 6 to go marker as there your leaders separate from each other again. Every time your leaders separate like that, that back pack there, Trey Hoovler, is starting to come back just ever so slightly. That time at the line, still going to be Chris Garrett out front, but Trey Hoovler now under 6 seconds, 5.6 actually to be exact, off the rear tailgate of Chris Garrett. Let's talk about that man who is sitting right there in the 95, the Mountaineers truck. Charlie Widener has one victory on the year, and right now with himself in contention here from Talladega, we're going to get the 5 to go marker. It's been an up and down year for Charlie Widener. Coming into the season when he ran over there at the Phoenix Raceway, finished 8th, had a pretty solid night after he started 19th. Then he went to Auto Club, started way back in the field, 21st starting spot for Charlie. He worked his way all the way up to 6th place finish. And then they went over there to the Martinsville short track, little paperclip, started 15th, finished 11th, wasn't his night there. Rockingham, Charlie had a 5th place finish, and then when they went to Texas, started 11th on the night, but had a rocket ship. Ended up bringing it home in Texas. Everything was bigger in Texas that night for Charlie Widener as he walked away with the win from Texas. Then he went to Bristol, had a rough night, had disconnected but a 9th place finish, and then last week from Richmond had a 7th place finish. And right now he runs 2nd, trying to walk away with a win here, possibly battling his teammate. They're going to cede 4 laps to go here. 4 laps to go, and the gap is now at 5 seconds. 5 seconds back to this group. And at this point, they'd have to tick off over a second a lap to try and catch him. I think they're just going to run out of steam, because now this pack is going to start to form up, because DeMarco Starks, who's right here, could possibly work his way into this group and then make it a 5-car group. We have some Trey Hoovler fans out there, and Hoovler is coming. It's under 5 seconds now. 4.8, 4.7. It's coming down. The question is, can he get there? They're going to have some more drafting help as there's some lap cars in between your leaders and Trey Hoovler. Can he get on the horse? 3 laps to go here from Talladega. 3 laps to go, and it's only, these 5 drivers that aren't so gathered together. And then look at this pack back here. They're all single file. I'm sure spotters talking to other spotters, telling the drivers, stay in line. Let's see if we can run your leaders down, because if they get there, they're going to have the head of steam. I don't think they're going to get there, though, but we're going to have to wait and find out. The fat lady has yet to sing here from Talladega, because right now, Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener, though, they have the 2 trucks, the 2 Toyota teammates up front, 1 and 2. And then they got Dustin Ping, who's kind of been following them around here all night long. Then you got Jamie Christensen hanging on to the back here. And then that's DeMarco Starks in the 27 machine. So you got 5 trucks right here. And then you got that gap. Let's check the gap at the line. This time by going to be 3.5 seconds back to the group here. 3.5. How hard can Chris Stump push it at this point? Can they pull 3.5 seconds in 2 laps? Remember, they started all the way back being 12.5 seconds back, and it's just been a slow crawl trying to pull the leaders back. Let's go back up front here and watch the final lap here from the leaders, though, because I don't think Trey Hoovler or Chris Stump are going to have enough to get back to the lead. Coming down here off turn number 4, then we're going to go through the trial. Well, then it's going to be that long crawl all the way. Chris Garrett can now see the flagman. The flagman about to reach out. You're going to get the 1 to go here from Talladega Speedway. 2 leaders going to battle it out. Who's going to bring it home? Chris Garrett or Charlie Widener? When is Widener going to take the move? Here on the final lap, he has that whole long trial after turn number 4 to try and make the move. Trey Hoovler, Chris Stump not going to be able to pull back your leaders here in time for this one. We've been green flag racing here for 93 laps. We're going to finish this one out under green flag conditions, because through turns 3 and 4 we go for the final time here from Talladega for the National Speed Association. Who's it going to be? Going to be Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener. Widener going to duck to the outside here off turn number 4. He has Ping coming with him. It's going to be a long stretch, though. They're side by side through the tri-oval. At the line, who's you got? Who's your money on right now? It's showing Charlie Widener is ahead. Charlie Widener's going to cut down in front of Chris Garrett. It's going to show Widener at the line. Coming across, though, in your third position, going to be Trey Hoover, Chris Stump. But your winner spinning across the line. Two teammates making contact off turn number, I say the turn, really coming through the tri-oval. Let's go back and watch that once again here. Let's go from the blimp cam over top. Charlie Widener comes to the outside here on Chris Garrett. There you see it. Charlie has the advantage. He comes down to try and block, and it looks like Chris Garrett going to hold his line, and Charlie Widener's going to spin across the line in the 95. He's going to win his second race of the season here from Talladega. Well, we're going to step away for just a moment and see if we can get to talking to some of these guys after the wild race here. 94 laps going to go from the green to the checkered, all with no caution flags in between here. 19 drivers took the green flag. 17 drivers going to take the checkered flag. And we'll be back here, though, with your post-race interviews as your unofficial results going to scroll across the top of your screen here. We'll be right back with your post-race interviews here for the National Speed Association. Well, welcome back here to Talladega Superspeedway here for the National Speed Association. Green flag racing the entire way here tonight. I have your winner here in the booth with me. Timing and scoring is a little messed up right now, ladies and gentlemen. They will work that out behind the scenes, but we do know the 95 here, Charlie Widener, going to walk away with the win. Charlie, how'd you do it? You came off turn 4 running second. At the line, though, sideways in P1.
Yeah, you're able to get such a good run off the corner at this track, and I don't know if Chris bobbled a little bit or what happened, but I was able to get to the outside, and I just stayed in the gas, and I thought he was gonna rub me a little bit, but he ended up going sideways, and where I ended up turning the wrong way on the apron down there. It gave me a black flag for reckless driving because where I was turned the wrong way. But yeah, I mean, I'm heck of a race there.
Yeah, it was a heck of a race. You started all the way back in your 15th spot. At one time, you were shown in 17th. Did you think when you were shown in 17th, not in the lead pack, that it was going to be a long night from that point on?
Well, you see, Roger, I'm the best there is. No, I'm kidding. It's the draft that I really like on these super speedways, and I chose to start back there because of I was going to try to avoid a wreck if something happened. So there was a strategy move to be back that far, and then the truck was really loose that whole first run. So I ended up going back. I went up to the front, went back again, just so I wouldn't lose the thing, and then made some adjustments. And I knew as long as I didn't wreck out, I was going to be a contender in this thing because I love these super speedways.
Yeah, and you were a contender here all night long, so you're going to notch your second win here of the season. But how about next week here for the National Speed Association? You're going to take these trucks, you're going to head over to the Concrete Mile, the high-banked Dover Raceway. How do you feel about that one coming off Talladega?
Well, I told you before, I'm a huge fan of mile and a halves and super speedways. And you know how my races went at Bristol and Richmond, which were not very good. So I'm cautiously optimistic when it comes to Dover. I mean, I like Dover, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well, once again, though, Charlie, congratulations on your win here. But before we let you go, are there any sponsors you got to thank there on the 95 machine?
Yeah, I got to thank my alma mater for being on the truck, Appalachian State University. Um, I got to thank my teammates. There's no people that I would rather draft with at a super speedway than a Garrett brother. So, um, I'm glad I was able to stick with at least one of them. JJ had a pretty rough night, and thank you for putting on this broadcast. Thank Voice Attack for sponsoring this series. Jamie for keeping things going, and on to the next one.
On to the next one there, though. That was Charlie Weiner in the 95, notching his second win of the year here with the National Speed Association. One over at Texas and now parks the 95 once again in victory lane. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've realized it says 6th on our timing and scoring, but that would be incorrect. Charlie Weiner was the first one to cross the line, regardless of if it was sideways or pointed in the right direction. Charlie Weiner, they're going to park that number 95 in victory lane. We also caught up with the man who finished second tonight here. Chris Garrett, you came in tonight as your points leader, and you did what you had to do. A solid night all along. You led the most, I want to say the most at the end of the race, but I guess that's not technically correct. But you didn't lead the final one.
Yeah, I didn't lead the most important lap, and I really hate it. One of these nights, I'm going to get me a win, and I'm hoping it's by a whole lap.
By a whole lap. We have seen that before, but that's a tough feat, especially at a super speedway. What was your strategy coming into tonight, though?
My strategy really was just to kind of keep my nose clean. I didn't really want to get too much trouble. I kind of went straight to the front the first part of the race just to see what my truck had, and then it started getting loose on me, so I was going to back it off and just kind of ride around for a little while. And really just pit strategy. Tried to get off sequence with everybody else, hopefully get a few trucks going with us and keep the speed going. Luckily on that last pit stop we got quite a few trucks with us, and we basically just kept running laps, and kept nosing before it, ahead of them. And that there at the end, they kept getting closer and closer, and I kept watching the timing and counting off how much closer they were getting to us. I knew it was going to be about 2 seconds that they were getting to us, so it was a pretty good race all around. I'm really shocked it went green the whole way.
Yeah, probably one of the best races we've seen at a super speedway, and you're involved in it, and you were in the chance to notch yourself your first win of the season, but not gonna happen here tonight. You're gonna finish P2 on the board, but hey, who do you got to thank that helps you out on the 57 machine?
Yeah, I gotta thank Under Armour. They like to keep me nice and cool here, and of course my teammates Charlie and JJ. Without them, I wouldn't be doing this thing. And of course you up there in the booth, and Voice Attack for sponsoring the league, and Jamie for keeping it running, and of course everybody else for keeping everything clean and not causing too many issues or wrecks or anything.
Well, there's Chris Garrett in the 57 machine, went side by side with his teammate there at the line, getting a little bit of contact there, but he comes home in the second position after leading a handful of laps tonight. Second place finish, still pretty good for your points leader here. Also caught up with Trey Hoovler. Trey Hoovler had a lot of fans out there tonight pulling for him. Trey, tell us about that run there. What happened on that last pit stop that put you and the 98 there of Chris Stump so far behind?
Well, we had 4 guys together for a while, and it was obviously Chris and Charlie. And we were watching it, and we figured if they came out of the pits and didn't get lappers, that we were going to run away with it, but they found lappers, so it's kind of luck of the draw. We lost Dustin right before. We were driving on the backstretch, and his truck got loose, so we lost one right there, and then we lost Steven. I don't know what happened there. So it came out the 2 of us, and we kind of had to drag the brakes and find cars before we could even get going. Came out about 7 seconds behind, and then by the time we found cars, about 11 seconds, and then mathematically it wasn't going to happen. We ran out of laps.
Yeah, ran out of laps. You guys from timing and scoring showed us at one point a little over 12 seconds behind, and you really closed the gap. You like you said, you ran out of laps. You ended up being 2.4 seconds behind at the finish line. What did you need other than obviously more green flag pit stop or green flag laps?
Just to keep our group together on pit stops. We did it pretty well on the first stop, and we had a pretty decent gap. On the rest, other than Chris and Charlie, we had a good gap on the rest of the field, but we kind of kept losing cars on pit stops and stuff like that, and then get down to 2 cars and couldn't find lappers, so it's luck of the draw.
Look at the draw. It's always a crapshoot when you come to Talladega or Daytona. And like you said, you guys had those guys all kind of planned out to work together, and you just kind of dropping cars as the night went. But how about Dover? We've seen you fast at shorter tracks, and we're going to head over to a mile next week. How do you feel about going to Dover?
Depends. If VRS gives me a set like they gave me last week, I don't feel good. If it actually turns next week, I feel like I can win it. So we'll see. Just when it's not fixed, it just depends on the set. So we'll see what VRS gives me and go from there.
Well, my friend, congratulations here, coming home third. A little bit short here tonight, but a third-place finish. Nothing to really hang your head on, my friend. Who helps you out on the number 90?
Well, tonight, obviously, the 98. Awesome pushes from Chris and those boys all night. You don't do anything here without somebody behind you. It's nothing to do with what you're doing. It's everything to do with what the person behind you is doing. And if you don't get a push, you do nothing. So thanks to Chris and all the guys. We stuck together as well as we could there. Jamie putting the league on, voice attack, you in the booth, and everybody for keeping it green, man. Just congrats to all the drivers tonight. It was it's not very often you come here and you run 94 green flag laps. So shout out to everybody tonight.
Well, there you heard from Trey Hoovler, who finished tonight in your third position right ahead of Chris Stump. Those two drivers working together all night long. Well, once again, your timing and scoring across the top, pretty close, except for you're going to have to slide Charlie Widener into winning this event here. iRacing had given him a black flag, I believe I heard, come across the scanner, and that kind of put him behind the 8-ball, but he should be able to retain that position once you go back and look through the timing and scoring. But tonight, once again, here from the Talladega Superspeedway, right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, this race tonight was brought to you by Voice Attack. Next week, we're going to head over to, like I had said before, we're going to head over to Dover International, the concrete 1-mile track, going to really be a lot different than what we saw here tonight. You're going to see a lot of guys kind of slipping and sliding around that track. We're kind of have to see how that plays out next week right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.